So as you guys viewed on your pre-test yesterday, which was on roots, suffixes, and prefixes, these may look familiar to you, do they? Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we are going to go through individual roots, prefixes, or suffixes, and we are going to kind of break them down so that you can understand their meaning and how they are used in words. So for example, one of the ones that you had on your pre-test was pre. So if we took a pre-test, what do you think pre would mean in that word, Casey?
Before.
Before, which is its meaning. So it's important to understand what these root words mean, because if they're in a word that you don't understand, as long as you know the beginning half, you might have a better idea on what it means. Just like pre-test. Pre is before. You took the test before you learned about what you know exactly. So one of my examples that's not on here that I wanted to do was chron. So last week we talked a lot about chronological timeline. So what do you think chron would mean in the sense of chronological? Zoe?
Time.
Time, that's exactly what the meaning is. It's not on the board, but I will show you in a minute. So if chron means time, chronological, you have an idea of what it means. It has something to do with time, in which last week we used it as a timeline. So chronological is an example of a word that I used as an example to explain how chron was used. So, now that I can tell you why I'm dressed like this, we are going to be making pizza today. Not real pizza, but a pizza graphic organizer. It's called Piece O Pizza. So I'm going to go through what mine looks like as of now, and then I'll explain to you what you are going to do today. Okay. So you will each, as a pair, receive a pizza. What I want you to do is you're going to cut it into all the slices, so each of you will have 3. The group of 3, you will each have 2 pieces. Each piece of pizza is asking for something. So the first one that I would want you to look at is word part. I will give each group a root, suffix, or prefix to work on. So in my case, I did chron. So where it says word part, I wrote chron. For the definition, as Zoe said, it was time. So I wrote time and I drew a picture. You may draw a picture on any of these if it helps you understand or remember what that means. So time, I put a clock because that's what I think of when I think of time. For my first example, like I told you, I used chronological. And I also wrote the definition in case you wanted to see it or if I forgot, according to the order of time. So I underlined chron because that means time and logical is there, and that's the full word. My other example is chronometer, which is an instrument for measuring time. So you knew chron meant time. Meter is usually a type of measurement. So you kind of plug it in and it makes sense, right? My last one was chronicle. Has anyone ever heard of, you already knew what I was going to say, the Chronicle of Narnia? Chronicle is a narrative of events, a history or a record. So that would help you understand what that title means. If you know you're going to a movie that has that word in it, it would make sense to you. The last slice of pizza that I need you to fill out is a sentence. You are going to use one of your examples and create a sentence using it. So mine is pretty relevant to what we did last week. A timeline is in chronological order. We all know that timelines have a beginning date and they go to the most recent present date. So now that you have seen my piece of pizza, I will pass out yours. As I pass them out, you have one pair of scissors in your crayon box that you can use to start cutting it. As you are cutting it, I will go around and pass out which root or suffix or prefix that you will have to work on. Is there any questions so far? Caitlin?
So do we cut the pizza out?
Yes. So I want you to cut all the way around and then cut each slice out so that each of you will have, in your case, each of you will have 2 slices, and then the groups of 2 will have 3 slices each to work on. So Maya, what are you going to do when I give you a pizza? Cut out the pizza. All right. So we're going. I also already handed out markers into your crayon boxes, so if you want to use markers, you can. If you want to use colored pencils, you can. But I would first want you to fill out the actual content in this pizza, and then you may color and decorate it as you will. You can turn around and face them. Go. I should see everyone cutting their pizza as of now. All right, Casey. Pick a card. Bio. Yes. Mm-hmm. If you have a root, suffix, or prefix. I will put the graphic organizer back up so that you can see what your card's meaning is. But I expect you to come up with examples on your own. Okay, so looking up at the board, you now have your root, suffix, or prefix, and you can identify what its meaning is. After you have identified what its meaning is, you may come up with examples of words that you may know from past experience. So what would the word be with biology? It's okay. Yours is ER. Biography is one. I know. Think of your siblings. What are they to you? Yeah. If you absolutely cannot figure it out and think of it, you may. But I want to see what you know first, or what you can come up with from what you know so far. Chapter. What else? There's an example standing right in front of you. You're using it. Teacher. If you feel like it. You can decorate it however you want.
What does it mean by word?
Word part. What's your word part? Word part is a more broad way of saying what it is, because I'm going to put root, prefix, or suffix all in one crust. So those are examples of word part. You can write it however you want. Well, what you're going to do in the end is you're going to put the pizza together. So we'll know what your word part is. So if you just want to write the definition, that's fine. I know that you think biology is a science subject, but do you know what biology means? Life, study of life. And now that you know the root. You may also draw pictures that relate to these words. You don't just have to draw things that relate to a pizza. Now, once each of you has completed your 3 or 2 slices, I want you to put your pizza together and discuss what each of you came up with.
You take away from something? Yeah, you take under. No, to take away or from something. What does that have to do with under? What was the mountain that created the other? Are we allowed to write our names on the back of them?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
We should put like books like science, right?
If you're not willing to do something. So if you're willing, what would be the opposite?
Books right now.
Losing your birthday. Unwilling? So what would the definition for unwilling be? Not
Our
willing.
definition is prison.
Well, just like pickering a person just power. It's it worked for me. Just for like the title, it worked for me. That's the title.
So what do you study in biology? If you're studying life, what would life be? An animal, it could be a plant, it could be a cell, it could be a human.
Wait.
Biology.
Change the word.
Or you could just draw like two. They can be biological. Biological. Because it still has ER in it. If it's a chapter book, it has chapters. So if you're reading, it's like a book that has the chapters. Is what it's presenting. All right, I'll give you one more minute to finish drawing and coloring on your pizza, and then I want you to put your pizza together. So yours is in science, biology, bio, life. And there's one minute you can share yours under the document. So if you want to bring it up here, you have to put it together. All right, so Maya and Casey are going to present theirs. Their word was bio. That was their root word. So go ahead, please explain the definition. And when you explain the 3 examples that you chose, explain how bio goes with the word and how it makes sense with the definition of that word.
Okay, so bio means life, and then biology means the study of life.
Go ahead.
Bio means life, and biology means the study of life. And biography means like a book written about someone's life. And biological means like that you're related to someone, like your siblings. And our sentence was, in science, our class studies biology.
Very good. So how can knowing what bio means help you determine what these words mean if you didn't know what the word meant?
And then means that they all have to do with life.
Very good. Yes. So Rachel, can you share what your root word was? Or your prefix or suffix?
So it was a suffix.
Okay, and what does it, what word part is it and what does it mean?